Good morning. I have a real frog in my throat. So I sound like a 50-year-old smoker, but I'm only a 40-year-old non-smoker. Good morning. Welcome. I'm going to do a little tarot, a little daily tarot. And I'm in Palm Springs and I've been too sick to get out. But there's this amazing mountain here, and it's just looms over the entire city, and it's so alive. Of all of the mountains I've ever met, this one just really speaks to me. But I haven't been able to get out and talk to it or commune with the spirit of the mountain at all. So we're gonna get inspired by the mountain today. I'm gonna ask this lovely grandfather mountain for some guidance, and we're gonna do body, mind, and spirit. So without further ado, before I completely lose my voice, body, Mr. Mountain. Mind, Mr. Mountain. Y Espíritu, Mr. Mountain. So, mountain magic coming through with body, the Eight of Swords, mind, the King of Rods, and spirit, the Ten of Rods. So right off the bat, lots of rods, another king, because every single pull I pull lately is a king. All right, so for body, we have the Eight of Swords, and obviously not the most shiny, happy-go-lucky of cards. This is a feeling of being penned in and not having options, and feeling a bit surrounded. And since this is swords, that's usually kind of an overthinking situation. And I always say that the counsel of this card is that the swords that are around the figure are kind of in the background, and in the Rider-Waite as well, her binds, her ropes are pretty loose. So there's really, it's a portrait of illusion and self-limitation more than anything. And the counsel is to just like step forward and get another perspective and kind of try and seek out whatever black and white thinking might be happening. So this is in the position of body for us today. And this is the wisdom of the mountain. Interesting. I mean, I feel like mountain wisdom and mountain spirit is taking this a little bit from the tarot reader Lindsay Mack, but it's associated with the Emperor card. And the Emperor and the mountain medicine is all about sort of taking up space in the world. I would say in an unapologetic way, but even more than that, just in a kind of like knowing that you, in your particular story and vibration on this planet, is a emanation of the divine, and that God or what have you needs you to live into yourself fully in order to realize itself. It's almost like a divine directive. So that's mountain magic, and it's coming through in the body for us in the Eight of Swords, and just kind of saying that whatever is going on in the body, whether it's reaching for the next rung in your athletic pursuits, or whether it's battling a slight sickness like I am, or a real illness like many people are, there's kind of a third way available for us today, and a counsel to look at black and white thinking and realize that the choices before you are not, the choices that you know of are not the only choices that there are. I hope that that resonates. So, body, mind. For mind, we have the King of Rods. Kings, as I keep saying, as I pull these cards over and over again, kings are kind of an integration of the elements within a person, kings and queens, and to some extent the other court cards. They are a step in internal maturity and self realization, and kings, in some way, are the pinnacle of that particular suit or element. In this case, the suit is the rods. So, rods are fire, rods are transformation, and kings are leadership. So, in the mind right now, there's sort of like a further step in integration available today through living into this mountain medicine, through living into this really accepting and choosing to live. I think that's what it is. I think that there's always some part of me, I know, and anyone who's been traumatized who is kind of unsure about being on this earth at all. It's like, is this really a good incarnation? Am I really safe here? You know, and and I even think that's sort of an existential state. You don't have to have been particularly traumatized to feel that in some part of your being. There's sort of like a certain amount of not claiming this body, this lifetime that can happen. That could come out in apathy, that could come out in self-destructiveness in all kinds of ways. And so mountain medicine is coming through in the mind today with the King of Rods. So think about that kind of stepping into claiming your life force with the King of Rods, because fire is life force. And the king is leadership in life force and being willing to be transformed and to transform others around you by example. So just an availability today to kind of step into that some more. Yes, I'm like a frog. So mind, body, spirit, we have the 10 of rods. So 10s are completion, but this rod one is also, this is kind of like having taken on a little too much and being a bit bullheaded and needing to delegate. You know, there's sort of like a stubborn strength in this card, but it's usually working harder, not smarter. This is the card of working harder, not smarter. So, of course, the counsel is to work smarter, not harder. And when this comes to spirit, it's an interesting one. This kind of reminds me of depression. I have some friends suffering from severe depression right now, and there really is like this sense of taking everything on, especially in terms of the spirit, in terms of, and then that transformation doesn't happen when you're clutching all of those rods of transformation instead of letting them, planting them or throwing them like javelins or whatever one might do with rods. This person is kind of clutching the rods, you know? So in terms of mountain medicine, maybe there's a counsel to, maybe it's related to that sort of claiming of the self in some way. It's almost like these are all the false selves that he's claiming. It's like, oh, this was the terrible thing that happened to me, and then this is the thing I'm ashamed of, and then this is the guy who parked his car wrong the other day. And so then you sort of like start to accumulate these identifications that aren't really true and aren't really yours, and before you know it, you're just bent down under them. And maybe that shows up as depression. I don't know, but the mountain medicine is, I think, it's kind of like as you claim yourself, you're also shifting the claiming of all of these things that might have happened to you or might have affected you, or even definitions of yourself that don't serve you anymore. I have been a teacher all my life, and now I want to be a fucking sea captain. I don't know. So yeah, the ten of rods coming through first, the spirit, and the mountain medicine. This is a really interesting series around mountain medicine. I like this. So in body, we're just being called to find the third way and release some of the um, internal definition, and in the mind, maybe these two sort of challenges and trials and dysfunctions are leading the way to this in the mind. So also, with the combination of the rods and the swords, maybe it's really pointing away from the swords and the misuse of rods and into this really good integration of fire and the process of creativity and transformation. These are both resisting transformation, the Ten of Rods and the Eight of Swords, and that's showing up today in spirit and in the body. And so interestingly, there's sort of a shift in mentality and a shift in your own I don't know, like your own internal resources that's allowing this leap into maturity with the kings, and the rods, the fire. So I think that's about it. That's the mountain medicine of the day. I wish I could show each of you this glorious, omnipresent mountain out here in Palm Springs. Going back to LA tomorrow, so I'll have to say goodbye. But I'm so grateful that this came through from Mr. Mountain, and I'm so grateful for each of you. I hope you have a glorious day. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.